crying hysterically because they won and qualified for the Olympics in Los Angeles.
Oh. I don't know what we would do without that. Keep this moving. Yeah, whenever I would play, speaking of flag football, the intramural fields where I went to school, we always had to wait for the people to be done with cricket.
Yeah.
Because invariably, they'd sign up for 2 hours.
Right.
Still be going,
You ran out of time of the game they play.
That's right, yeah.
Only
And
time
many
I-
students from India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
The only familiar I have with cricket, there's a bit of long-running series, British detective series called Midsummer Murders. It's been like 24 seasons or something like that. And they periodically they'll have, cricket will be in the background. Show 24 seasons and they've only had 2 different detectives as the stars.
So do you play cricket or you just like to watch?
I'm done with practice, but not.
Are you a bowler? You bowl?
I do both.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. But I'm not that good.
I have my wife's grandfather's cricket bat.
Really?
Yeah. So big, I mean, it's a big thing. He tried to show me how to do it. I played baseball for too long, I want to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Never quite understood it, but it's like rugby. I love watching rugby, but I didn't quite understand what the rules are. It seems like it almost seems like there are no rules.
My name is Betsy Gluckman. Nice to meet
Betsy,
you.
wonderful to see you. I'm Bob. This is son.
I know, I met you last year at the library.
You're from this church?
No,
And I
actually,
get your
my wife
emails
and
every week.
You do.
I mean, I live in Boca, so I'm
I
close
know
to
him.
you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember. You were saying that.
Cross ourselves.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a member of JCOM, so we'll see what you all have to say. I'm so interested.
Yeah, well, so am I.
I know.
Who knows what's going to come out of my mouth?
That's what my name says the same thing.
Let's see what
I'll
happens.
show up and do my best to be you.
You like the community?
We've lived in Elmore nearly 10 years. That's why I feel like I'm sort of
And you're just visiting then?
I am,
From
yeah.
where?
Florida.
Oh, that's right, he just told me that. West Coast, Florida.
Yeah.
And so how
Yeah, she goes to Florida too, but we're both our East Coast on Florida when we go.
Oh, God. Do you have a place there or you just visit?
She lives in Florida, Boca Raton. I have a place, but I just go a few months. You see, I stay here and I ski. And then I go down for a few months in the spring. It's a good life. So you've been here before.
I came to the last.
Did you get to see how pretty it is?
Why it is.
I love, and I was telling Mayor the other day that I feel like every time when I come down,
I mean, it's spiritual here.
yeah, and mountains and all that stuff. A lot similar to Sri Lanka.
all up and like,
Little connection.
I think there's some. I love it.
venture out of the water.
And I love season.
You like what
I love season. And I
Yes.
ended up in Florida.
Yeah, right. Where it's like hot and hotter and.
So you've had a good winter and summer so far? Which is the last time we saw you?
Yeah, it's not bad. Summer is too hot over there. Super hot.
That's why you're here, Betsy.
It's getting hotter and hotter.
So far, so good. No hurricanes so far.
Yes, this year so far.
So far, so good.
Last year, it's actually mine. Replaced mine.
You did? What was the name of that one?
What was the last one we had? Well, both affected. Milton and yeah. But second one. Yeah.
That's bad. Now, once we get through October, then it's beautiful because then it's
Yeah,
cooler.
it is.
Right, and it's before all the tourists come, so you have that little few months.
I live in
And then the
two places.
driver.
Tourists.
I know.
Rather than it is on the East Coast.
it's okay, but you know, soon it's.
And when the winter comes.
Yeah.
So how long do you stay this time?
I'm leaving Thursday.
Oh, so you're here for a
Some
while.
year.
Oh, good. How nice. Very nice. Well, just glad to be here.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Thank you so much.
put David in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have. It's too much pressure to say it to me.
Is that right? The reconcile. Chengdu, capital Szechuan province. Okay. Western.
Yeah.
So if I kept going, I could have come to see you.
Right. Right.
Some big mountains to get to.
Yeah.
And then India, right? and some water. But, yeah.
How long was it?
I was there the summer of 2001. It's been a time.
Yeah.
A lot of Pure Land folks there. And Shan, which is their version of Zen. So are you coming from the Theravada?
Yes.
Yeah. I do have a degree in comparative religion. But that was a long time ago. Every time I kick it, well, we decided to put David in.
Many times. What? Again.
It's a big one.
Nice. I love it.
I'd like to welcome all who have come. It's time to move forward. Thank you all for coming. One brief announcement is that any of you who may have brought your cell phones, make sure that they are turned off. There's nothing that cuts the moment like the electronic sound of a beautiful cell phone. So we have here with us today three notables. And I'd first like to thank Father Bob for hosting here. And by way of introduction, the Reverend Canon Dr. Robert K. Leopold, or Bob for short, is priest at St. John's, where he has served since mid-December of last year. He holds degrees in music, comparative religion, divinity, storytelling, and a doctorate in applied theology. So if you have trouble sleeping, Bob invites you to ask him about the thesis associated with one of these degrees.
That was a joke.
And a nervous titter ran through the crowd. Now I lost my place. Oh, before accepting the call to serve the people of St. John's, Bob had served large, medium, and small congregations, dioceses, campus ministries, and a non-traditional parish.
Can't hear you.
Oh, you're not able to hear?
It's on.
Oh, I know that.
You need to get closer.
Okay, I can do that. How is that? Better? Okay. Bob was a ministry fellow with the Episcopal Church Foundation and taught innovative liturgy at the Episcopal Seminary in Berkeley, California. Additionally, he has lived in the southern United States, Chengdu, Sichuan, China, Ottawa, Ontario, Washington, D.C., Minneapolis, Minnesota, and, as of 10 years ago, Elmore, Vermont. Besides his vocation, Bob loves a good joke, a captivating story, playing music, spending time with friends, European board games, and of course his family, which includes his wife, Lisa, band director at People's Academy, his 7-year-old son and future movie director, Woody, and his 6-year-old, who's having her birthday today, daughter and future Nashville hitmaker, Denver. Bob is excited to be part of this discussion and hopes to be a faithful voice for the Episcopal branch of the Jesus movement in the world, as well as the afternoon. We also have with us Rabbi David. Rabbi David is the spiritual leader and first full-time rabbi of the Jewish community of Greater Stowe, which is often referred to as JCOGS. Originally from Montreal, Rabbi David and his wife Allison joined our community in 2013. You may spot Rabbi David, Allison, and their 3 children skiing in the mountains, biking on the Lamoille Rail Trail, or schmoozing at the farmer's market. Rabbi David brings passion to creating musical participatory prayer experiences that touch the soul, welcoming both seekers and experienced practitioners. He deepens ancient Jewish wisdom with 21st century life and rallies people to act on pressing social issues. Rabbi David was instrumental in forming Lamoille County's first shelter for unhoused people, working with faith, business, law enforcement, and education leaders. He also served on the steering team of the Racial Equity Alliance of Lamoille, tackling systemic racism. His pastoral presence brings healing in turbulent times, and his work has been featured in the Boston Globe, 7 Days, and Vermont Public. A current fellow of the Clergy Leadership Incubator 2.0, Rabbi David previously served as a rabbinic intern, Nahar Shalom Kolot, you're going to have to help me with this, David. Cayeno, and MIT and Tufts Hillels, and as a past Institute for Jewish Spirituality, also holds a certificate in organizational leadership from Boston University and Hebrew College. You read his writings and listen to his music at www.melodyoferysoul.com. We also have with us, and I would like to welcome to this community, Monk San. Bhante San began his monastic life at a very early age. He knew this was his path as a 5-year-old. Imagine that. After his primary monastic education, he completed higher education at the University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka, then became a teacher and taught different subjects at the International Shikud Training Center. In 2000, Most Venerable Bhante Sujatha was visiting Sri Lanka and heard Bhante San was looking for a change. After a few conversations, Bhante San decided to come to the United States. He resided in Michigan, Great Lakes, Buddhist Vihara for a few months, and then joined Most Venerable Bhante Sujatha in his effort to build the Buddhist community in Woodstock, Illinois. He served there almost 6 years and then moved to Florida to finish his education. Currently, he is a resident monk at the Serenity Buddhist Meditation Center and teaching Dharma under the guidance of the Most Venerable Bhante Sujatha and Bhante Chan. He is also a psychiatric nurse practitioner as his day job. So without further ado, no one came to listen to me. So let's get on with the business at hand. And let's see. What I will do is start it off asking questions and see where the discussion goes. And I have some questions here, but this may become a free flow, and if it does, so be it. It is what it is. Isn't that right, Father Bob? And what's the tagline?
It is what it is, and it will be enough.
Okay. So, without further ado, why don't we begin with our host? And Bob, let me put the first question to you. What does your tradition teach about finding inner peace when the world feels out of control? And how do you personally practice that in your own life? This opens with something personal and accessible. So, take it away.
The gentleman from Elmore yields his time. That's a little joke. It's a tough question, isn't it? Inner peace in the chaotic world. You're a nurse practitioner in psychotherapy?
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Probably first Buddhist monk ever to.
Oh, how bad. Well, so it's good that you're up here with me then, so we can do some triage if we need to. I think at our best, and so I think the way you read the end of the biography was perfect because it was exactly the way I wrote it. I'm going to do my best today to speak for the Episcopal branch of the Jesus movement in the world. So to put me speaking for all of those following Jesus around the world, that might be a stretch. But I do feel like I can speak pretty confidently for where I understand the Episcopal Church to be. So that's my big caveat there. And I think what the Episcopal Church is endeavoring to do these days is to find inner peace through, dare I say, outer peace. Is that if we can work toward societal ills in not creating new ones, but journeying with people through whatever they might be journeying through, we're doing our best to honor a God who journeys with us through whatever we journey through. Does that make sense to anyone? Yes. Okay. All right, great. What was the other part of that question?
How do you know it personally?
Let me read the entire question.
Presentation? I mean, what was it?
What does your tradition teach about finding inner peace when the world feels out of control? And how do you personally practice that in your own life?
There's a great joke. I don't know if people will get this, but I'm going to try it. How many Episcopalians does it take to change a light bulb? Change? We don't want to change. Is that constant with everybody? We get so comfortable, so settled in our ways. There are other punchlines to that joke. Maybe we need to have a committee to honor the old light bulb. Maybe we need a committee to raise money for the new light bulb or discern what the new light bulb will do for us. Maybe there's even a mission statement that comes with the new light bulb. I think we just got to be okay where we are. And I view much of my ministry as just being okay with people and letting them know that they're okay. I think that's so much of what I do. And if that's the Episcopal Church, great. And if that's just me, I was just saying to my friend James in the second row there, we're just here for a blip. We're just here for a little while. So I'm just doing my best to love the people I'm with while I'm with them.
Thank you. Rabbi David,
Yes.
same question.
You didn't have to go first, huh?
So,
Do you want me to repeat?
this is good. No, well, maybe, but I got something anyways to start with. First of all, thank you so much for gathering us. If I understand correctly, this is your initiative, and thank you for bringing us all together. And it's nice to know you, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And welcome to Vermont. And thank you. I love being in this space, and being back in this space is really special. have lit Hanukkah candles here and have celebrated and mourned. And so thank you for hosting us. So I have to say, I think in my mind, I think I know a little bit about chaos. And in our external world, a little bit too. But I don't know the true depths. In Jewish history, my ancestors have known a lot worse. And my life is relatively comfortable. So I'm sitting on a panel about peace in times of chaos, and I have maybe a little taste, but I don't know that much because my life is pretty comfortable, and I'm greatly privileged for that, and I thank God for that. So I turned in preparation for this panel to the words of Elie Wiesel, who was a Holocaust survivor, who knew the depths of chaos and despair. And I was surprised by a quote that I found of his. Peace is not God's gift to his creatures. Peace is not God's gift to his creatures. Peace is a very special gift. It is our gift to each other. And so I think what he's saying here is not much about inner peace, or that inner peace, as Father Bob just alluded to, inner peace and outer peace are interconnected. The suffering of that which is around us also impacts what is within us, and vice versa. I think we can find inner peace. I have found, personally, that I can find inner peace even when my kids I got 3 young kids, some of you know them, maybe you've met our 8-year-old. There is a lot of chaos in and around me, and I have now and then, periodically, not very often, found some inner peace in those moments. And so I think that is possible, but at the end of the day, we can't have true inner peace when the outside world is a mess. And so, the Jewish way has always been to pursue peace, shalom, and also tzedek, righteousness or justice, and so that is why we're always balancing those two, whether it's shalom, peace, and tzedek, justice or righteousness, or it's chesed, loving kindness, and deen, or judgment or justice. It's all interconnected. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi David. And how is that practice in your personal life, apart from your children?
Is there chaos outside my children? How is that practice? I'm going to pause for now.
Okay.
Yeah, pause for now. I want to hear from Monsan, and I'll share some more after.
Monk-san, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I think.
All right. Go.
Reverend Bob, Rabbi David, so nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. I know you are leaders in this community, and I started to come to Vermont last year. Paul and Mayor, good friends, invited me to come to their house. Started to teach a meditation class, and second time here, and I feel like actually I'm coming home when I come here, because what you have, the mountains and everything, resembles Sri Lanka, my country, my village. Mm-hmm. So it's really connected me, and so yeah, beautiful space. Thank you. Mm. So I go by Monk-san, that's my stage name. I think I'm a rock star, but I'm not. Bante-san is kind of how you probably here monks been addressed, meaning Bhante means reverend. So that's what it means. So this is when we went back and forth what to do this time, and I asked Layden if we can put something like this together so we can actually bring different aspects and understandings to community and talk about each other. We have a saying in Buddhist teachings, it's called Sakachaya Bhikkhave
I was just getting ready to say that. I'm sorry.
Panya Veditapu, meaning that we gain insight through discussion. And it's so important for us to communicate. So in Buddhist teachings, the idea of peace is coming from working inward, going inward and figuring out what causing all these turmoils, what's happening within us and outside. So when you think about chaos and all the ups and downs that we go through life, and in Buddhist teachings we talk about suffering. And there is a misconception when it's come to a lot of people think like, oh, it teaches life is suffering. That's not what it means. It means that there is a fundamental nature to life, to existence, and then how we react to that make a big difference. And when we react to certain things certain ways, that causes a lot of conflicts in our existence. And that's what defines as suffering. Otherwise, there is this misunderstanding that life is suffering. It's really not. And how we view it and how we react to it. And so we can learn to respond to it. So in Buddhist teachings, it talks about that there are fundamentally 3 root causes that why there are these why we are losing peace. One is lobha, which is greed. And so if you can think about any examples relevant to today, that you see how so much greed, never enough mentality for 1% of the population in the country, causing so much havoc in societies, in the world. And the second one is dosa, meaning anger, frustrations, anxieties, and these things bring a lot of, we lose peace from that. So lobha, dosa, and moha is that when we don't have the right view, understanding about what exactly happened, because we get so complacent with it and we are only caring about what I can get from it, what I can do to make my life better, and then we just forget about everything else. And that kind of mentality really doesn't allow us to progress and to make changes in life. And so in Buddhist teachings, the idea is that when somebody can work through these issues and these root causes and have an analysis, so you can find way to work with these roots and it talks to a point where that how we can eradicate for these things. I don't know I agree with eradicating those things, but I find that we can work through these things. Anxiety, depression, stresses, and all these things are part of our existence. And probably I'm the only monk ever in the world who is a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And so I see a lot of suffering in the world. And I see from 6-year-old kids to all the way to 90-year-old. So I see a lifespan of people. And so when they come and I see a lot of, suffering and a lot of difficulties that they experience. And I always remind them that when it's come to suffering, when it's come to peace, when it's come to stress, anxiety, which we coin as suffering, is actually a lot of time these are optional. And it's how you react to it. You can learn to respond to it, but we are very reactive in nature. And so this, when we don't know the difference, when we are constantly reactive, that causes a lot of difficulties within our life. And obviously I don't have the same experience as Reverend Bob and Rabbi David. I'm not married, never been in a relationship, and it's easy for me to say, oh, you should let go of things, and it's not that easy, and I understand that because I talk to a lot of patients, and I don't know if you need to be able to be married and have kids to maybe have that opinion, but I always tell people, I don't have that experience, but I'll tell you what I would do. And so in my tradition, my practice, I use my roles, being a human, being a citizen, being a monk, being a psychiatric nurse practitioner, a friend, whatever the role that I have, I use that role to reflect my behaviors, the way of my doing things, to bring peace to other people. So as a nurse practitioner, nobody come and in my tradition, my teacher or anybody go and punish me because you don't do monk work. I can just make a paycheck and live a comfortable life. But I go around every weekends when I have time and I teach meditation, I share, and we do a lot of group meditation. I call it monkey. So when I do that, I do it out of kindness. I never get for what my lifetime, I never have made a penny from it, and I always had a job and to support myself. So it's my way of contributing, doing things to, it's not only bring me peace, and I am also sharing that. And also when patients come to me, when they have these difficult times, and Reverend Bob and Rabbi David, and they all do this same thing. When people come, actually share their stories, difficulties, and being able to listen. A lot of time when people come in my professional life, I had an older person came and said his whole life he had a lot of anger. And I listened to him 45 minutes, and I gave him some feedback. And he said before he left, I am already feeling better. So using my role, my way of life, and I am successful as a professional nurse practitioner, it's due to my practice. And so the practice entails so many other things. So I don't know if I have time to discuss all that stuff, but that's how it's discussed in our tradition, and those are some of the things that I do to alleviate some of the difficulties that people struggles with, and also I struggle in my life. So, did that answer the question?
You did, Mark-san.
So,
What you left out is one of your roles as a very good dishwasher. We had lunch together. He did the dishes.
In Elmore, you can come anytime. Loads of the
Another question that comes up is that many of your traditions have survived centuries of upheaval, persecution, war, social change, even in the Episcopal diocese. What historically sustained your people in those times that you might bring to bear to the present?
Don't go to me first.
No.
We're the newcomers here.
Rabbi David.
New kids on the block, 2,000 years, yeah.
We've got a bit of experience on this. So I can speak personally here. My grandfather is a Holocaust survivor. 2,000 of our of my family members were murdered in the Shoah, in the Holocaust. And people survived the Holocaust by fluke, by luck, and by chutzpah, by, I don't know how to translate that.
Courage.
Courage. Courage and gumption. A little bit of edginess, shall we say. By the luck of neighbors, being good people, my grandfather, my Zadie, survived because he was in the Polish army in August of 1939, and Germany was about to invade in September, and his officer, his commander, told him, knew that he was Jewish, and said, "You need to get out of here." And the rest of my Zadie's family stayed behind, but him and his wife Tova, and my Bubby Tova's sister and her husband fled, and they thankfully made it to Russia. So the kindness of this one stranger, neighbor, commander, helped him survive, and otherwise he would have been on a cattle car to Auschwitz, likely. And he also, so that neighborliness is what sustains and helps us survive. And we should never forget that, because we all are neighbors, and we all have that capacity. He also had that chutzpah. He was someone with a lot of will, and a will to live. And so he and they survived because in every situation that he came up against in his life, at that time, he was thinking, how can we survive? What's the best possible outcome in this very terrible situation, to put it mildly? And so he grabbed life. He grabbed life, and he made it through. And he was like that his whole life. I think he also had, I think this is sometimes seen as a vice in our culture in general, but he had a lot of pride. And I think that helped him survive too. Just a sense of, pride in the best sense, of pride for life, a sense of kind of entitlement to living, so he wasn't the only one in our tradition who survived, and over many years of pogroms and inquisitions and crusades and war. It's really amazing that humanity has survived in general, given all of these wonderful things we do to each other. I would say there's that the tradition itself, the words of the Torah, the words in the Hebrew Bible, have been an incredible source of strength. In this season, we say a psalm, Psalm 27, that talks about God as my light, and who shall I fear? I love that it's a question, because it is, this is a song that we say in this season leading up to the high holidays, which we've begun now. And I love that it's a question, my ancestors and all of our ancestors have, each of us, face fear all the time. And this psalm points to an answer, which is God. The light points to, at the end of the psalm, talks about a hope in God, a faith or a trust. But it begins with a question again. That question itself is the opportunity to ask when we're in that dark place, when we're in that place of fear or anxiety, depression, despair, the darker feelings, which are very natural part of humanity. Whom should I fear? What am I fearing? What is this fear where is it coming from? Is it real? Is it something that's true? And just noticing it and being with it. And then the other side of it is, where's the trust? And where's the faith? And where's the hope? And not needing to have the complete, full answer to that question, but just asking the question it can be sustaining and can take us can just elevate us a little bit, a little bit out of the fear, enough to see it and maybe question it, maybe touch on that place of hope and trust. That is also natural, a part of humanity and part of who we are. And that is life-giving.
And Rabbi David, the virtues of which you speak over the centuries, do you see those today?
Yeah. I mean, the Jewish community, there's an often said phrase, something that is sung, Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. We are a living, breathing community in spite of what has been and in spite of what is today with anti-Semitism. The other piece that has sustained us, that I see in our community today, is a true sense of joy. Just a true sense of joy of being together, of eating, of just enjoying life, and enjoying the privileges that we have. To come kind of full circle to where I started, my Zaidi, my grandfather, talked about his children as his millions. They were his investment, and he made millions. He was a pretty poor guy, but he made millions from his heart with his children, and and his grandchildren were his billions. And if he was still alive, maybe the great-grandchildren would be his trillions. And there's a great joy in the Jewish tradition of seeing the next generation and seeing the upcoming. So happy birthday to your daughter, and it's all with the next generation.
Thank you. Monk San, would you like me to reread the question?
Yes, please.
All right. Excuse me. Each of your traditions has survived centuries of upheaval, persecution, war, social change, and what has historically sustained your people through chaos, and what can we learn from that today?
Thank you. So I was born 1982. So Sri Lanka, I don't know if a lot of people don't know where Sri Lanka is. Sri Lanka is southern tip of India. It's a very tiny island. It's Florida is 4 times bigger than Sri Lanka, so it's very small. But we have 20 million population, so it's back to. So we had a civil war for 20 years, and so that was very difficult. So here's the interesting thing that I read. So researchers and historians tried to gather some data and calculate like how many wars actually had happened in a 5,000 something years of a span. So after calculating all this stuff, they found out closer to 300 years people lived on Earth without a fight. So this is not something just unique situations to just Sri Lankans. It's unique to all humans. People ask me, what's the biggest difference when you come to America? And I say, you have fast roads, you have fast internet, you have iPhones and all these things. And so as growing up in a small village in Sri Lanka that nobody knew a long time ago, everything was slow. We only had one bus, and if it's broken down, you walk. And I remember I had to walk one day 8 to 10 miles because I had a situation to go to the doctor, and the bus didn't come. So, but here is what I see the similarity when it comes to human nature. That we all, our aspirations, our wants, our thirsts, our greed, and all these things are the same wherever you go. And underlying, we are kind of like the same. And so people do things thinking that somehow that they are better than others, and thinking that they are fixing things, and end up screwing things up, unfortunately. I don't know, is that even a formal word to say? I don't know. So, in a panel discussion, I really don't know. So, and when you go back to the fact that actually, interesting point that when we have this wars has going so many years, in Buddhist teachings, there is a concept that we talk about, it's called upekkha. Upekkha translated as equanimity. The reason I pronounce it, people always correct me how I say it. So there is an underlying fundamental nature to every life. And so we've all gone through all these ups and downs all the time. However, since we have not lived other difficult times, at this moment, we feel like this is the worst time to live. And this is the worst time that we are living. Why? Because we don't like, I like when Father Bob said that about change. We don't like change. And so when things been challenged that we are comfortable with, it hurts us. So that caused a lot of fear. To address that mention about fear, and that in Buddhist tradition is called suffering. And so one thing that we don't realize is that people right now, a lot of people feel like that in this society, in this culture, this part of the world, that things are changing drastically for worse. But the people who are enjoying those changes now had the opposite reaction a few years ago. And it's funny how that works. And so it's a balancing thing. It's back and forth, back and forth. So no one wins. No one really like exactly lose either. Because it's always constantly changing. And just like we are fearful today, if you listen to certain people talk about, their circumstances and things they thought about 4 years ago, they were worried about their situation, the same way that we are worried about situations right now. So, for us to really take, have a grasp of this, we really need to understand. So I like that the concept of understanding equanimity, that there is this fundamental nature to human existence. And once we understand, once we recognize it, it's easier for us to work with those things. And so the troubles that we struggles, the fears we have, anxieties we have, and all these things that we feel like this is going to end, and this is like we don't have solutions. And so many people come and say like, things are changing. And they feel like every belief that they had about the systems and everything is attacked. But it's in a constant flux. And so we just need to keep that in mind. Because if you let that thought to get into your head, we cannot function. And I always try to bring people to the moment and say, think about what you can do, what you can contribute. I had a person, a 17-year-old kid that I saw the other day, first time when he came, he was, so disorganized, flat of fact, and withdrawn. And the next day, I saw him after 6 weeks, and he came back, and when I talked to him, and he brought up about something important that surprised me, and he said, there are a lot of bad things happening in the world. And he was so worried about everything happening. He was talking about, racism and all these things. And so I listened to him and I asked him, what are you going to do about it? And he said, I can't do anything. Nothing's going to change. And I said, that you have to change. So if you change the way you look at it, not being complacent and taking an active role in things, and we can bring peace. We can somewhat alleviate some of the fear, anxieties people feel. Last night, Paul took me to a dinner. A beautiful, what was the farm called? What's the name of the farm? Maybe they went. Do you remember? The dinner we went to. Do you remember the name of the farm? No? So it was a beautiful location. And so this organization is actually collecting all the donations, food and everything, and share it with people who don't have. And so such a beautiful thing. And so imagine everybody, I heard that, not to get into all the politics and stuff, but farmers are struggling, right? Everything that's happening. And so, but here is an organization actually doing what they can, not being complacent with happening and thinking like, oh, my action doesn't matter. I can't be helpful. I can't do anything. And so if we come to that mindset, we cannot make a difference. And so I always tell people there is a fundamental nature to life, to our existence, and once you understand that, you can be active and do your, be in your role and do whatever you can to be a factor in the world.
Thank you, Monk-san. Time is running short, and I'm going to skip you on that question, Father Bob. But
Let's go.
all right,
Can we do it?
yeah, do it.
Yeah, for
Do
sure.
it.
Well, I feel like, because I will come at that question from a different place. in that it's been a while since followers of Jesus have known widespread suffering. Now, we still remember it, and we'll still tell you about it if you sit down, but by and large, we've been the hegemonic elites since around the year 300 or so, when we got into bed with empire in the West. And so you mentioned a civil war running for 20 years. There's been something like a civil Cold War within followers of Jesus since that time, of how much on the side of empire are we going to be, and how much on the side of Jesus, I'm making it as plain as I can, are we going to be. How much in bed with empire are we going to make our decisions, and how much are we going to look to the teachings of this rabbi, this offshoot Jewish movement that was quite a thorn in the side of empire. It's very nice that I hear through both of these is the aspect of don't give up. I heard that very much. I hope that's what you said. That's what I heard. And to frame that into my understanding of the tradition in which I find myself is God is incarnational, God is with us. And so for us, that was the person of Jesus that came to show us how to live. And so rather than meeting violence with violence, as just about everyone had before in the West, Jesus met violence with love over and over again. And that's what it looked like, his life, his teaching. So that when we find ourselves, and we start to call that redemptive suffering. And so when we find ourselves suffering, we can take heart that Jesus, and therefore God, has known suffering as well, and is with us in those moments.
Good. Knowing that time is short for you, the last question that I was going to put to this august body is, what is one concrete practice, a ritual, a discipline, a daily habit that anyone in this room, regardless of their faith background, could begin this week to cultivate more peace in their life?
Starting with me?
Yes.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, you have to leave soon.
Well, I'm going to stay until the end of the conversation.
Okay. I'm not trying to kick you out.
Yeah, sure. A concrete practice. Well, this is where we have a lot to learn from other folks. We don't have as much body spirituality connection in the Jesus movement as other religions have. I'm thinking of our Hindu friends and yoga, and that has become the spiritual sort of bodily practice for many. I do think we have some, and I'm very excited to talk about those. Some of them might look very sort of Eastern in practice if we think about contemplative meditation and sort of the non-duality of things, sort of finding, as you were talking about, what can I do about it? Oh, and then sort of changing, getting to that place of what we might say in my tradition is a middle way, of it's this, not this, how can we synthesize these things? So maybe that's one. I really like what we do Sunday mornings. We have a ritual, and we wear our rituals, we wear our mysteries in my tradition on our sleeve. There's no hidden knowledge, there's no secret sort of, we're just out there in front of everyone, and we do our most mysterious thing every Sunday in front of all, for all to be a part of. And so it's this communion, it's very much based in a practice David is very familiar with, sharing bread and wine, and some teaching that goes along with that. So I would invite anyone to the table, and maybe not, it doesn't have to be our table, but if someone's looking for a table, there are other tables around, but find a table and find some friends around that table and have conversation.
Thank you. Rabbi David.
Can I share more than one?
Sure.
Okay. So our tradition, the spiritual tradition for us is mainly prayer, not exclusively, but mainly prayer. We're people of the book, so our prayer book is thick and long. But I'm going to summarize the morning prayers for you. We wake up and traditionally say the words Moda or Modeh Ani. I am grateful for you. So the first word wake up in the morning and the first words are, I'm thankful. And then we move to a series of 18 blessings. The rabbi said, you're supposed to make 100 blessings a day. So, however that looks for you, in the prayer book, they start us off, okay, let's get 18 of them, start the day off right, and then we're kind of on our way to 100. We move, so we're blessing the things around us. You're putting on your underwear, and your blessing, it's literally, these blessings are based on how you wake up in the morning. And so, so you're getting dressed, you're opening your eyes for the first time, you're putting your feet on the ground for the first time, and you're making offerings, you're making blessings. The morning prayers then move to Hallelujah, a series of acts of praise. This world is so wondrous, let's praise it. So we offer our wow. So we've offered our thanks, now we offer our wow. And then the prayers move to the Shema, to the oneness of the world, and how we're all interconnected and how everything is interconnected. And from there, we move to prayers of personal prayers, of request or asking, please. And so, whatever the spiritual practice is, you can draw on all of those pieces of thanks, of wow, of please. And I think this will be a good lead-in to Mongsan. I have found through our own tradition, which it doesn't, it's, if you walk into most kind of mainstream synagogues, you won't see this highlighted as much, but over the last, there were a couple of hundred years of Hasidic teachings from about maybe a few hundred years, from 17th century through up to contemporary times, that focused on the more mystical tradition and embodied meditation. And so I found personally meditation to be incredibly helpful in embodying that sense of calm. But I think I'd like for all of us and everyone here to take note that it's all inside of us. You don't, I'd love for you to come to synagogue, you've got the pitch for Sunday morning or Friday night.
I said find a table.
Find a
Any table. You got a table, I
You
got
got
a
it.
table.
You were pitching. It's okay. No, I love coming to church. Don't take that away from me. Don't take it away from me. Anyways, but also, you can be in the woods. You can be at your dinner table, as Father Bob so beautifully pointed out. You can be anywhere and find that sense of inner peace.
Thank you. Mongsan.
All right, final words. So,
What's the one thing you would point to?
So I'm so glad Rabbi David mentioned about practicing compassion, kindness. A lot of research has gone into now these areas in psychology that actually they have found prayers, compassion, kindness, practicing gratitude has significantly shown increase our overall well-being. So contentment is a choice you make. So you can go home and turn on the TV and watch it and be miserable all day. You have the remote to turn it off. That's the choice you make. So that comes having the awareness. When you go into these rants and start to spiral, to somehow it needs to kick in, like inside temperature goes up, outside machine start to kick in. And so we need some kind of AC machine, right? Yeah. So we need some kind of a way to recognize it, to monitor it. And so we need a system to sense it. And so leading into what they both said, that we need to develop this as a skill. And our brain given to us by evolution to survive. It will do anything to survive. You will jump off of a cliff, doesn't care whether you're going to break your legs or not. You're going to jump to protect yourself. So our brain is convoluted, but it's not very smart. It's really not. It's very complicated. So we'll do that. So what we need is to develop that we can monitor that. When fear kicks in, anxiety kicks in, what do I need to do? Take a deep breather, step back. When you get panicked, what's the first thing people remind you? Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. That's the first thing we forget. So in our tradition, what I encourage people is to, before you get out of bed, even put your foot on the ground, take a deep breather. Set your intentions. If you are saying a prayer, say your prayer. And I think, if anything, if you don't want to be a Buddhist, Jewish, Catholic, if you don't want to be anything, you all probably familiar with the Serenity Prayer. And if anything, if you need in life to guide you, let that be your prayer for the day. And that will make you the best Buddhist, best Christian, best Muslim person in the world. And that's all you need. And let that just sink in and say that. And as you end your day, when you hit your head on the pillow, rather than thinking about everything that you want to be in control tomorrow, focus on your breath. You are in bed to sleep, not to control tomorrow. What's going to happen is going to happen tomorrow. We have no control over that. But only thing that you have in control right in this moment, what you're doing. Just like right now. And if you are sitting here and thinking, gosh, why did I come here? That's your choice. Nobody holding you. You can get up and leave. See, that makes a difference in your life. That makes you happy or miserable. So start the day with that, end the day with that, and that is a ritual that I practice, and that's why I'm the happiest guy.
Thank you, Monk-san.
Can I share something?
Yes.
I brought a prop that something that Monk-san just said kind of triggered in me, which this is a picture of someone behind bars holding up his hands and a flower growing out of them. It's a picture that was created for my wife. She spent years working in the prison system. And it's someone who was stuck behind bars, but who was finding inner peace in the bar, in that place. And she often talks about how there were people behind bars who were as peaceful and as happy as you can imagine, and people like us on the other side who are trapped in our fears and anxiety and lack of peace. And so, it's on each of us. We have that opportunity, however locked in we are.
Well, since I'm so good at pitches, my last one will be to a table downstairs where there are refreshments
Yes.
for us. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
I'd like to take a moment myself for two things. First of all, Paul Chibeta and his wife are the ones who put this together. They were the ones who put their foot in my back and got me moving to contact all of you. So thank them. And next.
Slow recovering from COVID.
Yeah. And next.
Cindy would find.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at the title to the proceeding today, it reminded me of a poem written by a Spanish poet, Antonio Machado. It was written, I think, around 1912, and it speaks in terms of our journey as we have all discussed here today. I'd like to take a moment to read it. It's short. Traveler, your footprints are the only road, nothing else. Traveler, there is no road. You make your own path as you walk. As you walk, your footprints make the road. And when you look back, you see the path. You will never travel it again. Traveler, there is no road, only a ship's wake in the sea. And I think that covers it for me. But thank you all for coming, and there is a reception downstairs. You'll be able to pick the brains of these august participants. Maybe 3 or 2.
One more piece. This has been recorded. It's available now, and it will be on the St. John's webpage. And then tomorrow morning will be an edited version. It just means it'll be cleaned up a little bit more. It's available now. I'm sure you take that on my driver.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good job.
Only 7 months. We'll see how long I last before they run me out of town. Yeah. Almost 10 years in Vermont. It's a fun community, yeah. And we're, I think like Jake Boggs, I'd say about 25% of our congregation are snow folks and the rest are from.
They really good. I mean, we don't have a congregation. But,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't like the destination.
and I heard your place is huge, and I saw that.
It's like 20 years old. I think this building is 2007, and I know these folks worshiped at Jake Boggs for a little while. This was under construction. A long-standing relationship. Which I'm blessed to step into. Of course, yes, wonderful to see you. I'm Bob. Oh, fantastic. He's a good one to belong to. Yeah. That's good. There you go. How involved is it?
This is a very wonderful program.
Anybody Dana vouches for. Oh, lots of folks are kind of